you acknowledge that this session will be recorded and it may be rebroadcast. So your image and any comments you make will be recorded and it may be rebroadcast. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Kevin to get started.
Thanks very much, Elliot. And so just to introduce myself again to you. So my name is Kevin Dunkley, and I'm the College Director here at the University of Bradford International College. So it's fantastic to see so many of you here to hear our presentation today. And we're really excited about you arriving and being on campus with us soon. So hopefully during today's session, we're going to give you a little bit of information about Bradford itself and about what you can expect to be doing when you arrive here in the UK. We'll also, of course, give you a bit more information about your visa support and who you can go to if you have any questions about any issues you're having with your visa. We'll talk a little bit about what you can expect when you first arrive and where you should go and what you need to remember to bring with you to complete your enrollment here at the University of Bradford. We'll give you some information, of course, about accommodation, which is very, very important. Hopefully, a lot of you have already got your accommodation sorted. But if you're still finalising a few things, we can provide you with some more information about that. I'll also talk a little bit about the actual lessons here at the University of Bradford International College and what you can expect in your classes, what kind of academic support you can expect, and various other things about your classes and your program here with us at the University of Bradford International College. And what we'll also do today is we'll just give you a little bit more of an idea about the type of support that's available for you here in Bradford, because really the main aim for us here is to make your transition from your home country onto your course here at Bradford as smooth as possible, and to make sure that if you do have any problems or any issues, that you know who to speak to in order to solve those problems. Okay, so if we move on to the first part of the presentation, I think Vince, our student support officer, is just going to give you a little bit more information about what you can expect when you arrive here in Bradford. So Vince, over to you for the next slide.
Okay. So hi everybody. Yeah, thank you very much, Kevin. So coming to Bradford, it's going to be quite a big step for many of you. You're going to be in a foreign country for the first time, and you're going to be in the north of England, which is one of the most beautiful parts of England, otherwise known as God's County, a bit of a colloquialism. It's just because of so much natural beauty and rolling hills that hopefully you're going to be able to come here and really enjoy yourself when you might arrive in Bradford. There's plenty of things to do here as well. Bradford being one of the geographically youngest towns in the whole of the country, with an average age of about 25 years old. Hopefully as well, you're going to find plenty of things to do. There's an absolutely brilliant nightlife. There's a huge art scene, if that's your kind of thing. There's some wonderful architecture that is inspired from many places all over the globe, and there is like a massive regeneration project which is also taking place in Bradford too. So hopefully once you're here, you're going to be able to see this wonderful city go from strength to strength and beauty to amazing beauty. Thank you. Right, so Bradford is the largest, it's the 8th largest city in the UK, and as I said, it's got the youngest population too. The city is it's a bit of a cultural hub for a great many different types of people. Many people from across the world come over here and they settle. There's over 140 different languages spoken across the city, which is such an amazing thing. Since I moved here 2 years ago, I can honestly say that I found the city to be incredibly welcoming, incredibly beautiful. The food is impeccable, absolutely impeccable. It gets described often as like being friendly and vibrant and energetic, and I think that's a lot to do with the youth culture as well, which kind of surrounds the city itself. And as the slide before you says, when you're not studying, our students have had a great amount of fun exploring the city with its rich history and its parks, of which there are many, and its wonderful surroundings. The actual quality of the food here is probably my favourite thing about being in Bradford. I am spending way too much money on takeaways, I have to admit, these days. There's a wide range of food and drink. There are some traditional British breweries as well that kind of are brewing in and around the Bradford area, and it's also been Britain's 2016 curry capital. So it's a really, really interesting place to be, and some really great outdoor markets, and some world-renowned food is also made here too. On the next slide, we can see that there's two major theatres in Bradford. These are our big art hubs. The first one being the Alhambra Theatre and the second being St George's Hall. There's always something going on there. Either it's been like some, it would be music concerts, or there can be some art galleries going on, or some comedy theatre, or even just like a presentation. There's always something for you just on your doorstep for you to go down and be entertained by. So it's always worth having a look to see what they have available on there at any given time, as it changes from week to week, sometimes even daily to daily. Additionally to this as well, you can also find right here in the city centre, we've got the David Hockney exhibit, which is being shown at the moment at several of our art galleries, as well as the National Science and Media Museum, which is the world's first, what's called UNESCO City of Film. It's just like a really exciting time for Bradford. There's also the theatre and music, which also takes place on campus at our Phoenix building, as well as the many events that we have on campus at the Ant Bar. Like I said a moment ago, this is the world's first UNESCO City of Film. So this is it's basically what this basically means is that because Bradford's got such a rich history with film in television and international film as well, that it's been given like this very special kind of landmark title. Very recently, they filmed a film. I think it was called Gold. It was a cricket film about the Indian cricket team coming over to Germany during World War II, during the Übermensch Games, and they absolutely wiped the floor with Germany, which is very, very embarrassing for the Nazi party at the time. But that was filmed here in Bradford in part because of the small town that we have here called Little Germany. And the reason that exists is because back in the day when Bradford was a massive merchant hub, a lot of German merchants came over and they wanted to bring a piece of home with them. So they brought their architecture with them and built this square inside of Bradford, which you can see like has all this really great history to it, which still reside there to this day. And they bring loads of camera crews over here to film any kind of scene which they may require that kind of architecture from that period in time. Also, just outside of Bradford as well, you don't have to travel far to be part of the Great British Countryside. Like I said, this was otherwise known as God's County, and it's an absolutely beautiful place to be. If you like hills, then this is definitely the place for you. Our students have been exploring the Yorkshire Dales National Park recently, visiting places such as Ilkley Moor and Haworth Village, which are hugely historically significant for British literature and British culture. I know the University of Bradford Student Union will be organising a great many walks for you to participate in over the next couple of weeks. These are mostly going to be very cheap, or they're going to be free. All you need to do is sign up for them, maybe pay your travel in order to reach these places, and you'll be taken on a tour of these amazing countryside and historical towns. Also, with that in mind as well, Bradford is one of the most well-connected cities in the north of the UK. It's 20 minutes away from Leeds, which is the next biggest city, and only 1 hour away from Manchester. Manchester being my home city, so I've got a little bit of a soft spot for it, but it is also like an amazing cultural hub, and definitely both of these places are places worth visiting. And if you do fancy going further afield, you can also visit York as well, with its amazing Viking history. Thank you. So just up on the screen in front of you now, you should see a map of Bradford city centre. So as you can see right in the centre here, we've got the Broadway shopping centre, and a little south to that, you can see City Park. And just below that, you can see Bradford Interchange bus and train station. And if you look straight up from that point, you can see Bradford Foster Square. So Bradford Foster Square and the International bus and train station are our two transport hubs in Bradford. You can get to almost anywhere else in Yorkshire from these two locations. But once you've arrived in Bradford, you're probably going to be dropped off at one of these two locations. So all you need to do is either head a little bit north to City Park, or head south if you're coming in from Foster Square. It only takes about 5 minutes to reach the City Park, and from there you've got access to the Broadway Shopping Centre, the Peace Museum, Kirkgate Shopping Centre, and more importantly, you're only 5 minutes down the road from the University of Bradford itself. So in order to find yourself you'll find your way there, all you need to do is have a look for the Alhambra Theatre, which should just be just across the road next to the National Media Museum, which is also free, and I highly recommend you all go have a look there sometime. And just spend 5 minutes walking up the hill past the Bradford College, and right next door is the University of Bradford. There we go. So the next slide, when it pops up, will just be a map of the campus itself, just showing you what our little campus here is like. It's one of the greenest campuses in the UK and is quite well renowned for it. It also rather famously was the first place in the UK to have its own its own diploma in international peace studies as well, which we went and celebrated by installing an international peace garden just on the outside of the college campus. When you arrive, you'll be able to do like a bigger college campus tour, which I highly recommend. Hopefully you'll be able to enjoy it and learn a little bit about the college itself whilst you're here. This information will be sent out to you in your welcome packs. If you've not already received it, I'll be sending out something again a little bit later on. So as I said earlier, Bradford University is a bit of a green oasis amongst like all of the outside natural beauty that Bradford has to offer, but right in the middle we're this lovely little naturalistic hub. The campus itself is only 10 minutes away from the city centre. Like it says here on the presentation, it's one of the greenest universities in the world, and we're very proud of that fact. There's a multi-million-pound campus redevelopment currently underway, and a state-of-the-art library which is open 24 hours a day, so you can have access to over 3 million different articles, documents, books and resources. Everything at your disposal is going to be there, as well as 24-hour security that you can always rely on at any time, day or night, so you're always going to be safe. In terms of campus life, we have a lot of activities for you to be engaging in. The sports centre being one of the newest additions to university life here. It's a wonderful facility, which is very cheap for students. It has a swimming pool, a gym, a newly built climbing wall with access to squash courts. I've also seen some fencing, so you can do a bit of sword fighting on there as well if that takes your fancy. And all this is available to you for just £100 per year, which is less than £10 per month. Which I can't speak for Elliot or Kevin, but this is the cheapest I've ever seen in leisure centre in the UK. Give you access to absolutely everything, from all the clubs to all the resources, and including the swimming pool, absolutely everything, just £10 a month, or less than £10 a month. It's really good value for money. We also have Student Central, which is going to be your student hub whilst you're here on campus. This is your basic resource hub for everything for the library and the student union. We also have cafes and bars downstairs. If that's your thing, you can get soft drinks, or you can socialise after a hard day's worth of study. There's over 70 different social and activity societies you can also participate in as well by joining the student union, of which by simply arriving and registering on campus with us, you're automatically a member of the student union. So as soon as you arrive and as soon as you finish your enrolment, you can feel free to go down to the student hub and go and sign yourself up for any one of these different clubs or different societies which are down there on campus. We also have the Tasman Little Music Centre, which is the home of Bradford University's Music Society, which hosts an array of different types of music, everything from orchestras to small bands, jazz and classical music. We even have some African drumming groups on there as well, and improvised music as well. So you might be able to get involved in that kind of thing if music is your kind of thing. As well on campus, I've mentioned earlier, we also have Theatre on the Mill, which hosts a whole variety of students and community theatre productions, and that is just off to one side from Student Central. Oh, there's the next slide. Okay, so I think for this one, I'm just going to pass over to Kevin just so he can finish this little slide. Thank you.
Thanks, Vince. Yeah, I mean, I'd echo I'd repeat a lot of what Vince has just said there about what a nice place Bradford is to live. It's it's very well located, right in the centre of the UK, and some of the countryside around Bradford is incredibly beautiful. And like Vince said, if you like if you like food from different countries, then Bradford really is a great place to get all that different food. Okay, so one of the things that I just want to talk to you just a little bit about is the international student support and the UKVI compliance team here at the university. So I'm sure that at the moment a lot of you are in the middle of applying for your visas. Maybe a lot of you probably had your visas already approved, but I know this can be a very stressful time, can be a difficult time waiting for all this paperwork to be completed. So I want to make you aware that if you do have any questions, any concerns about your visa or any part of your visa application, we've got the email address that you can see on the slide here, which is visasupport@bradford.ac.uk. And if you email this address, you will get through to to trained professionals who will be really well placed to answer any of your questions that you might have about the visa application process. It's really important that you do contact this team for visa advice, because they are the people who are trained in this area and have the most up-to-date information. It's important that you don't rely on things that you're reading on social media or various other things that your friends might be telling you, because every visa application is different, every case is unique, and it's best for you to communicate with the trained professionals who can answer all of your questions. I know as well that a lot of you are going to be maybe a little bit worried about the length of time your visa application is taking, and maybe you're a bit worried that you won't be able to arrive with us for the start of your classes, which is due to start on the 26th of September, or the start of your induction, which is due to start on the 19th of September. But if you are worried about arriving late, it's important that you let us know. If you let us know that you might be a few days late or even longer than that, then we can make sure that we put in place all the support that you might need for when you do arrive late. So you can see on the slide in front of you, there's a form that you can complete on the Bradford University website, or later on in the presentation, I'll share a few more email addresses with you. And if you want to contact us at the college directly, just to let us know how your plans are going, and if you are delayed, then let us know so we can make sure that the support is in place for when you do arrive here on campus. The next slide just gives a little bit of an overview about the application process. I'm sure you're very familiar with the visa application process. But like I said, the most important thing is that if you do have any questions about your visa, make sure you email the university, make sure you get in contact with us so that we can give you the latest, most accurate and up-to-date information, and we can give you support with everything that you need to do in order to get all the paperwork and everything that you need in order to join us here in Bradford. So the next thing that I want to talk a little bit about is what it is when you arrive in the UK. Just to give you a little bit more information about what you should do and what you should remember to do in order to complete the last few stages of your enrolment. So when we skip on to the next couple of pages. So when you arrive in the UK, the two biggest airports that are closest to the Bradford University are either Leeds Bradford Airport itself or Manchester Airport. If you haven't booked your flights yet, I would strongly advise that you look for a flight that will arrive at one of these two airports. The reason for that is because if you arrive at either of these two airports, we can arrange for you to be collected from the airport and taken directly to the university campus, taken to your campus, well, to your accommodation. So again, there's an online form that you can see the link of here on the presentation that you can go to, and you can let us know that when your flight is going to be landing. You can send a quick email to airportpickup@bradford.ac.uk, and if you let us know at least 48 hours before your flight arrives, then I'm sure that you can expect someone to be waiting for you at the airport and bringing you directly to the campus here in Bradford. If you are going to be arriving elsewhere in the UK, perhaps your flight lands in London, it's important that you book your onward transport from the airport from London so that you make your way directly here to the University of Bradford. As Vince said, there are two main train stations that you should be booking for. So you can either book a train to Bradford Interchange or book a train to Foster Station. It's also possible to arrange for coach travel, and this again can be direct from any airport in the UK. If you just make sure that you pre-book this before you land, it'll make everything so much easier when you're here in the UK. What I would try and emphasize is that if possible, make sure that you're arriving in Bradford during the daytime. The reason I say this is because the university, not all of the offices are open 24 hours. So you should make sure that if you arrive during normal office hours, then there'll be someone here to meet you, to support you, to guide you through the last stage of your enrolment process. This is also when the International Student Support Information Point is open. So if you arrive during the daytime on the campus, you should be aiming to go straight to this student information point, where you will meet all the members of the university team who can support you and guide you with your enrolment. So a little bit more information about the International Student Information Point. So this information point, it should be the first place that you go to when you arrive here on the university campus. It's quite easy to find. It's situated in a building called the Richmond Building, which is the tallest, the biggest building on the university campus, and you'll recognize it because it has a large glass atrium attached to it. So as soon as you arrive on the university campus, make your way directly to the Richmond Building and ask everyone there for the for the International Student Information Point, or for the welcome point. There'll be lots of student helpers around. There'll be lots of members of staff around to help you, to guide you, and to give you lots of advice about what you need to do to complete the last part of your enrolment. You'll see that when you go to the student information point, this is where you'll be able to collect your biometric residence permit from, your BRP. It's also where you can arrange a campus tour. One of the student helpers or one of the members of staff will be happy to take you around the campus, show you where your classrooms are. There's also a chance to book a city tour, so you can go and explore Bradford itself and see everything that the city has to offer. Of course, every day there are welcome briefings just to give you as much information as possible about your new home and your course and life at the university, and lots of useful tips to help you settle in to your first few days here at the university. Of course, there will be lots of paperwork and bureaucracy that you need to complete, but we'll provide you with help with this. We'll give you advice and support with opening up your UK bank account. We'll advise you and support you with any police registration that you might need to do. But of course, there's the fun stuff as well. And make sure that when you visit the welcome point, you ask about the different social activities and day trips that are being organised, so that you can get to know the surrounding area as much as possible before you start your courses with us here at the University of Bradford International College. So there is a lot that you need to remember to bring with you when you come to the university campus. Of course, when you arrive, you will need to make sure that you have your passport and your visa documents. Make sure that you have all the original documents. It's also a good idea to make some photocopies so that you have everything available for when you come and complete your enrolment. Make sure as well that you bring all of the original certificates for your qualification. So the qualifications that you're using in order to get your admission onto the course at the International College, you will need to have these with you on your first day when you complete your enrolment. This includes your academic qualifications from your school, college or university, and also of course any English qualifications that you have used as part of your application. When you arrive and complete your face-to-face enrolment, make sure you have full details of your accommodation. You will need to let the team know where you will be staying in Bradford. You will need to give them your address that you're going to be using during your time in the UK, and also give us your telephone number and your contact numbers so that we can easily contact you. What you should also remember is when you first arrive in the UK, it might take you a little bit of time to set up your bank account. So it is important that you have access to your money, and that might be in the form of a credit card, or you might want to bring a small amount of cash so that you have enough money to cover you for maybe your first week or even couple of weeks in the UK until all your bank account is set up and any transfers of money completed from your home country. Of course, for your classes, you should remember to bring all of your school equipment. So that includes pens, notepads, papers, all of this stuff, so that when you attend your classes, you are ready to learn, and you're ready to study. Bring your mobile phone with you. The university can give you a free UK SIM card that will help you get online, and will give you a UK number as soon as possible. If you are taking any medications, or if you need any vaccination certificates, make sure you bring all these with you. You will be able to register with a local doctor here in Bradford, but the more medical certificates you bring with you, the easier that process will be. I strongly advise all of you to bring a laptop with you, or at the very least a small tablet computer. A lot of your the work that you're going to be doing is going to involve typing assignments and producing a lot of work using the computers. So I highly recommend that you bring a laptop with you, and you can bring your laptop into your class if you want to be making notes on your laptop, or to help you with your research. Wi-Fi is available all over the university campus. It's completely free. If you're staying in university accommodation, of course, the Wi-Fi there is always available. But I really think nowadays it's very important that you bring your own laptop with you in order to get the most out of your classes here at the International College. Remember as well that you're going to be arriving quite late in the year in the UK. September is the autumn in the UK, but already we're getting towards winter. And in December, January, February, temperatures in Bradford can go below 0 degrees Celsius. And we do often get snow as well. So make sure that you're prepared for this change in climate. Make sure that you bring lots of winter clothes. That might mean gloves, a hat, warm shoes, warm socks, everything that you might need just to get you through the winter time. A lot of our previous students have told us that it was the first time that they'd ever seen the snow when they arrived here in Bradford last year. So I don't know, maybe that's something to look forward to, but it's also something to make sure that you're prepared for as well. And also, like Vince has said, there's some amazing sports facilities here on the university campus. So make sure you bring sports clothes and leisure clothes with you on your first day, so that you can make the most use of these facilities when you first arrive. So studying in the UK, I mean, as I'm sure you are fully aware, it can be quite expensive. And it is important that you budget for your time here in the UK, and that you have all of your money in place to help you with your everyday living costs. One of the good things about Bradford is that it is one of the most affordable places to live in the UK. Accommodation can be very cheap here, and eating out can also be quite cheap here in Bradford. But even though you might not need lots of money, it is important that you have budgeted for your stay here at the University of Bradford. So on top of your fees and any course related fees that you might need to pay with regard to buying books and buying materials, students' monthly living expenses, they can be as low as £500 in total, but this really is the lower end of the living expenses. If you're planning on eating out or going out around the city, you will need significantly more than this in order to be comfortable here in Bradford. The university itself does offer scholarships that will make your progression onto your university course affordable, and will provide you with possible discounts when you pass your foundation year and progress onto the university. But it's very important that you are fully aware of the price of your follow-on degree, and also that you have enough money for your everyday living expenses while you're here in Bradford. The next page gives a little bit more of a breakdown of the kind of living costs that you can expect when you arrive here in the UK, just to give you some idea of how much money you should be arriving here with. So you can see quite often accommodation can be the most expensive thing that you have to pay for. You can expect to pay maybe even up to £5,000 for the whole year for your accommodation. Again, over the year, you can see that at least £50 per week is needed for your food. For many people, especially nowadays, this can be significantly more. If you go down to the final column on this page, you can see that we're giving you some idea here of the overall total that you will need just for your basic living expenses. Of course, this doesn't take into account your tuition fees, because all your tuition fees will have been paid before you arrive in the UK. But you should still make sure that you have money available, at least £6,000, £7,000, £8,000 to get you through just 1 year in the UK, so that you can live comfortably and focus on your studies here. So one of the things that you should also be aware of in the UK is that it is important to arrange some form of insurance to cover your personal possessions. The reason for this is that accidents can happen. You can maybe lose your mobile phone or any of your personal possessions, and without insurance, this can become a very unexpected extra cost. So I would strongly advise all of you to make sure that you have some insurance in place before you arrive here on the university campus. We do. It is possible for you to register with the health centre here on the university campus, and we will give you help and support with doing that. You'll be able to make use of a local doctor. So although, you know, if you want to take out extra health insurance, that would always be a good idea, but there are possibilities for you to make use of the healthcare that's on offer here on the university campus. I would advise you to look into registering for this doctor before you arrive. All you will need is details of your accommodation here in Bradford in order to be able to do that. But I would also advise, if you haven't done this, that you come and see myself or Vince or anyone in the International Student Support Team and ask them for help registering with the GP. So the next page just gives a little bit more of an overview about the type of healthcare that you will be entitled to when you arrive here in the UK. But so if we think about the next slide, gives a little bit more information about your enrolment process. I've seen a few of you already asking questions about the enrolment process and how exactly we can complete that. So the important thing is the first part of the enrolment process is the online enrolment process. You should have all received information about how to complete this part of the enrolment process. And if not, then you can find the link online here. And if you are having trouble completing this enrolment process, again, make sure you get in contact with us, make sure you let someone know, and we can guide you through this and we can offer you advice and make sure that this first part of your enrolment goes as smoothly as possible. Because it is really important that you try and complete as much of your enrolment before you arrive here onto your course in Bradford. It will make everything much quicker and will mean that you can spend more time settling into your new course and your new accommodation. When you arrive in Bradford, you will need to go and complete the face-to-face part of the enrolment process, and to do that would involve bringing your ID with you. As part of your online enrolment, it's really important that you pay all your tuition fees before you arrive on the campus. So this is part of your enrolment process. If you do not manage to pay for all your fees before you arrive, it will have an impact on your ability to enroll here at the University of. You'll be given a stamp in your passport, and the immigration authorities will give you a piece of paper. Make sure you scan this, you photocopy this, and again, share this with the visa support team here at Bradford as soon as you possibly can. Again, I'm sure you've got lots of questions, and we're going to try and answer your questions towards the end of the presentation, but some of these questions might have been answered already, and you can find answers by going to the university website and viewing their frequently asked questions page, and that will hopefully give you more information about the initial part of your enrolment process. But after you've completed this online part of your enrolment process and you've arrived on campus, you will need to complete the second part of your face-to-face enrolment process. like I've said, this is done by visiting the international support team here at the University of Bradford, which you can find in the Richmond building, the main building. And when you go to the international student support team, they will be able to issue you with your BRP. They will ask to check your visa and check your certificate, and they will give you all of the final information that you need in order to access your timetable, access everything that you require to start attending your classes. As part of your face-to-face enrollment, once you've had all your documents checked, you should come over and visit us, your faculty, your University of Bradford International College team. You can come over and visit us. We are just directly opposite the Richmond building, and we will give you more specific information about the International College itself. And that information will include details on your modules, on your timetable, maybe some information about the classrooms that you're going to be using, and also, again, just to answer any questions and to help you settle into life here on the University of Bradford campus. So I think I'm going to pass over to Elliot now for just to go over the next part of the presentation. But I'll be back a little bit later to give you a little bit more information and, of course, to answer some of the questions that you've been posting. So thank you very much for now, and over to you, Elliot.
Great. Thanks, Kevin. I've seen a few questions already about your fees in the chat box, so hopefully this will answer any questions you might have about settling your fees. It's really important that you settle your fees on time, as Kevin mentioned a few slides ago. You don't want your fees affecting your ability to enroll or your ability to study on campus when you arrive. So as stated on the screen, your offer letter will indicate when your fees are due, and as already mentioned in the chat box, your fees are due in full before the start of your course. So please do familiarize yourself with the offer letter, because that will tell you the step-by-step process of what to do after you've paid your 50% deposit, which everyone in this webinar would have done so already. After that, it will tell you explicitly that your full fees are due in full before the start of your course. Now, you've already received a lot of information in the webinar already, and there's more information to come. So we know that is a lot to take in, and we know you might be thinking about what to pack and all sorts of other things. So we will give you a reminder by email. We'll give you a call as well, just to let you know that your fees are due before arrival. Once again, you should have already received the first email, and that will give you details of when the deadline is, which is obviously the start of your course, and how to pay your fees. I'll go over that in just a second as well. So one thing to note, many of you hopefully will have already received your visa. Many of you will already be in the process of applying for your visa and just waiting to hear back. So as you know, as I'm sure you all know, as part of your visa application, you have to submit a financial document, just giving evidence to the UKVI that you have enough money and you have the fees to pay your fees in full. So by submitting this evidence, that is as part of your visa sponsorship, you have shown proof that you can pay your fees in full before the start of your course. Now, if the fees aren't paid in full before the start of your course, this, as Kevin has already mentioned, is going to affect your enrolment, and we'll have to report this to UKVI as well, because you've shown evidence as part of your visa sponsorship. So us at the college, being your sponsor, we have to assume that because you've evidenced the fees and we haven't received them, that either one, the application was fraudulent, so we'll have to report this to the UKVI, or your fees are being used for other means and not for your tuition, as mentioned in the visa application as well. So I just want to stress how important it is to clear your fees in full before the start of your course. And of course, if you have any questions, if you want a copy of your invoice, if you want the link to Flywire again, this will all be emailed to you. But if at any point you've lost the email, please get in contact with us before the start of your course, before it's too late. If you're aware that you might not be able to make the fees in full before your arrival, please let us know, because you might have to defer your course, and we need plenty of time to sort that arrangement out in order to sort out your finances. So when you go to pay your fees in full, there are two ways you can make the payment. You can see details of both up on the screen. The first is Flywire. Flywire is an online platform that we use to help students pay their fees from abroad, and it has a number of different advantages. The first being it will allow you to pay from your home country and almost any home country or any home currency as well. And it's really, really simple to use. All you have to do is click the link to Flywire. You have to pop in your Oxford International ID, which can be found on your unconditional offer letter. And then all you'll do is submit your fees, click however you want to pay. You can pay by credit card, you can pay by debit card, or even bank transfer, depending on your home country. And then all you have to do is follow the steps, and the payment will be made after you've sent the fees to Flywire. Now, some of the benefits of this method, there are no hidden charges. So once you've submitted your fees and once you've got to the final page of Flywire, it will tell you exactly how much you have to pay. So there aren't any hidden fees, there aren't any bank fees or any further charges you have to be aware of, because it will tell you on Flywire as well. Flywire also offer what they call their best price guarantee. And they offer really competitive exchange rates. So if you had the opportunity and the flexibility to go to your local bank and see how much it would cost to send your tuition fees using the conversion, but also double checking on Flywire just to see the best rate you'll get for sending us your tuition fees before you arrive. And as I mentioned, you will be doing a lot of preparation, getting your winter clothes ready, getting your laptop packed. So if you have left it a little late and you know you need to pay before your arrival, then Flywire offers extremely fast transfers. So if you've left it 2 or 3 days before, it might be a little late for a bank transfer, but you can still definitely pay by Flywire. But because of all the benefits of Flywire, that's not to say you can't use a more traditional method and still use a local bank transfer. The bank details will have already been provided in the email as well. Also, if you do request a copy of your bank invoice, the bank details will be on there as well. So it's really easy to make the payment whichever method you choose, but just be aware with a bank transfer, sometimes there are these hidden fees and local fees that we talk about. So it's really important that you speak with the bank to understand if there are any fees when making your bank transfer, because if the fees are taking off from our side and we don't receive your tuition fees in full, then you'll have to make a second payment of probably a really small amount, and that's what you want to avoid. You want to have to make the payment only once instead of a bit of fees taken off at the end. So that is how to pay your fees and when to pay your fees. Hopefully I've made it clear that the fees need to be paid in full before you arrive. So if you do have any questions at all, please pop them in the chat or send us an email. We'll provide the contact details towards the end of this webinar. Just another thing, I know we're speaking a lot about the support you can receive, and you do have a lot of different support, but we'll also be making phone calls to you before you arrive, and this is less about your fees but more about your accommodation, if you've booked your flights, if you've already received your visa, and also to help with any questions you might have before you arrive. So there is a load of different opportunities, one being this webinar, 2 being the calls you receive from the pre-arrival support team, and with all the contact details you receive at the end of the webinar as well. If you've not yet received a phone call, do let us know in the chat box, but this could be for a number of reasons. If perhaps your contact details have changed since making your application with Oxford International, you need to let us know as soon as possible, because if we're trying to get through to you with important information about your arrival and about your flights and your visa, if your contact details aren't up to date, then we won't be able to get through to you. So you need to contact the team to update your contact details as soon as possible. There is also a frequently asked questions link. Aside from the link that's been provided, there is 2 different links. So hopefully every question you can think of will be answered across one of these 2 links, and we'll pop them both in the chat as well. And just a final reminder, something that the team will mention when they speak to you, that with regards to your accommodation, hopefully the majority of you will choose to live on campus because of all of the benefits that come with living at the Green. But if you decide to live outside of the campus, which we'll speak about in just a few slides, you need to remember that you need to live within 40 miles of the college. If you are living outside of this 40-mile radius, this again is a breach of your visa sponsorship. So just be aware of that as well. So that is it from me. I'm going to hand back over to Kevin or Vincent. Thank you all. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat box.
Thanks, Elliot. So yeah, I think just a quick overview of some of the things that we've spoken about. I'm aware that we're giving you lots of information here, so just a bit of a checklist to make sure that that we're clear on everything so far. So like Elliot has said, it's very important that you pay your fees before you arrive, and Elliot's outlined some of the different ways that you can do that. Like I said before, if it will have a negative impact on your enrollment. If you're not able to pay your fees, then you will need to let us know this so that we can maybe put, if your course needs to be deferred or if you need to study at a later time when you can pay for these fees. It's important that you complete the online enrollment. This is, a vital part. If you don't complete the online enrollment, then you won't be an official student at the International College. So make sure you complete this as soon as possible. When you arrive on the university campus, you'll need to book your ID check at the International Student Support Desk in the Richmond building, and also arrange to collect your BRP and complete your registration with the University of Bradford. And also, of course, once you've completed all of these steps, that's when you can come across and say hello to me and Vince and the rest of the team here at the University of Bradford International College, and we can guide you and support you through the last few steps needed to get you into your classes. Okay, so we've touched on accommodation a little bit already. I'm sure most of you, a lot of you have probably already organised your accommodation, but there might be a few of you that may be running a little bit behind, and Vince is going to give you a little bit more information about the accommodation options that are available for you. So Vince, over to you.
Thank you, Kevin. So there's a wide range of available accommodations that you may wish to look into before you end up signing a contract. However, the one that's closest to the university is otherwise known as the Green. Now, this is a really great place because, like I said, it's on campus. So you literally just have to roll out of bed and then you're in class. And also you're going to be surrounded by all the natural beauty and greenery that the campus has to offer you. Now, this was rated one of the top 5 in the UK for satisfaction with living and accommodation costs and financial support by students in 2018. So we're pretty proud of that. Many of our UVic students are currently staying at the Green as well, and we've had a great amount of positive feedback from them about their experiences of living there over the last year. It's very, very easy to get here from the university. I can literally look out of my window and I can see it just across the road. And if you're an international student, you're pretty much guaranteed that provided you can put down your deposit and fill in the application, you'll be given a place at the Green provided that they have spaces available to you. So this really should be your first port of call if you're looking for accommodation. Facilities wise, they can offer you things such as Wi-Fi, an on-site laundrette, which is fully fitted so you can wash your clothes, a fully equipped kitchen and dining area inside of your flat or shared accommodation, or they can have either private or ensuite shower rooms and a well-furnished study bedroom as well. So this kind of scales with the different types of accommodation that you may wish to go for. If you have a singular room, prices will be a little bit cheaper, but you'll have access to less amenities, such as the laundrette will be slightly further away from if you have like a townhouse, which is shared accommodation, which individually will be slightly cheaper for everybody, but you'll be closer to those amenities. So this is the campus. This is the accommodation that we recommend for everybody to live in, at least for the first year whilst you're here at Bradford. It's safe.
Right, Vincent, looks like you've been muted.
Thank you for that, Elliot. Appreciated. So sorry about that, everybody. So this is our Bradford, this is our recommended accommodation for everybody who's just coming to the UK for the first time, just because it's so close. We have 24-hour security at the Green as well. There's a variety of different prices to suit your budget and living styles, and it's really good value for rent as all bills are included in this, so you don't need to worry about electricity or water. And also there's no need to pay for transport because you're literally walking out of your door and you're right here on campus. So it's a really fabulous place to live, at least for your first year, until you've maybe made some friends and you choose if you wish to go and rent out a private accommodation elsewhere. So I think with regards to the next slide, just a recap of all the information I've already given you on there already, with a little link down at the bottom so that you can go and review their website if that's something you would like to do. You can also email them at thegreen at wearehomesforstudents.com, and you can ask them any additional questions that you may have about their accommodation down there. Thank you. So, as I said, this is just one of the different types of accommodation that are supported by the university around the local area. There are also different styles, such as private apartments, which are in the city centre, and the city centre being only 10 minutes walk away from campus. So that's pretty good access for you. There is also lots of private housing in the local area, which I will put information to in the chat in just a little while. Just to let you know, if you do rent privately, rent does not usually include water, gas, electricity, or the internet in these. So if you're budgeting, you'll need to take this into accommodation before you sign that contract. If you do want additional support with private housing, the best people to contact for this is going to be Unipol, and we've left a link in this presentation for you to read, but that's unipol.org.uk/Bradford, and this is our recommended private housing office. So you can rent a private accommodation from a private landlord, and also Unipol will support you through this process. And I can reassure you as well that Unipol have vetted every one of the landlords that they have on their books, and each of them have signed an ethical code of conduct which they must agree to in order to be signed on the books with these. So they make sure they are going to treat you fairly and abide by the law for as long as they are on the books with Unipol. We always highly recommend as well that you view the private accommodation before you sign your contract. You may want to check for things such as property damage, making sure that it's close enough to transport links, or even if it's little things that you would like to have for yourself, such as having a garden, just to make sure what the state of that is, or the state of the quality of the kitchen is before you sign that contract, so you know exactly what you are signing up for. Remember, a contract is a legally binding document, and once signed, you are in that contract for 6 months. There may be a way of being able to leave your contracts, but it may induce additional fees. So it's some stuff that you may need to be aware of just before you sign this contract. So if you do sign a private contract, make sure you read it very, very carefully. But if you do need additional support, feel free to contact Unipol, and they will give you help with navigating that contract.
Thanks, Lance. I think that's the key, isn't it? The word you've used there is if you need help, if you need support. There's lots of people here on the university campus and at the International College that are here to give you this support, whether it's to do with accommodation or any other issue. We do understand that, you know, moving to a new country, starting a new course, starting a new life in many ways can be very, very difficult, and you know, you can end up having one or two small problems, but we are here to give you that support, and there's lots of people that you can reach out for. I mean, example I've got here on this slide, you can see Vanessa is our international student advisor. You can contact her on the email there, and she's always available to speak to people face to face. But as well as that, of course, there's other support services available at the university. You know, some of you might want to get careers advice for finding a part-time job while you're here in the UK. You know, like I said, it can be very stressful and very difficult. For some of you, it might be the first time that you've lived away from home. And if you want to talk to someone just about any of the stresses or any of the ways that you are feeling, there is the counselling service that's available free of charge for all of you, just to share how you're feeling and share any problems that you are having. If any of you have disabilities or need extra support in that department, of course, again, reach out to us, let us know. Don't feel like you have to keep
It looks like we may have lost Kevin just for a moment there, unfortunately. We'll just hang on and see if we can reconnect, and we'll go back over what he was just discussing with everybody. But meanwhile, just remember, if you do have any questions, to put them into the meetings chat. We are reviewing them at the moment. We do have myself and another member of the team just going through them. And if there's anything which is particularly pertinent that we can answer straight away, we'll very quickly answer those, but otherwise questions will be answered at the end.
Hi everyone, sorry about that. I think I'm back now. But yeah, just to say, so I don't know where I was cut off, but my main point and the most important point is that if you ever need any support, any problems that you're having outside of the classroom, in the classroom, make sure you get in touch with us. You can see on this next page, there's a list of lots of useful email addresses, and I urge all of you to make a note of these as soon as you can. So you can see the admissions team here at Bradford if you have questions about that, the airport pickup for when you arrive in the UK and you want someone to come and collect you from Leeds or Manchester Airport. You can contact Vanessa on the international students at bradford.ac.uk. If you are having problems with your online enrolment or face-to-face enrolment, get in touch with the team at welcome@bradford.ac.uk. As well, if you want to speak to me or Vince or any of the other team here, you can see our email address down the bottom, the University of Bradford International College email address. And for, some of you have already posted questions about your visas. If you do have any visa questions, the best people to get in touch with are the visa support team at the university. They are trained in this area. They're able to give you the latest and most accurate advice. Okay, so on to probably the most important thing. So a little bit about your lessons and your classes and your course here at the University of Bradford International College. So all of our classes are face-to-face. There are no online classes at the University of Bradford International College. So you will need to attend your classes face-to-face. The classrooms that we're going to be using have been very recently refurbished. You'll be using brand new classrooms. So it's good. It's nice being here on the campus. There's no need for online classes anymore. There might still be some COVID secure measures in place, but again, we will advise you these during your induction, and we will follow all the guidance that's in place to make sure that you're safe while you're here with us on the campus. So your lessons are due to start on Monday, the 26th of September at 9 AM. So it is very, very important that you're aiming to arrive and you're settled into your accommodation before this date. If possible, you should be trying to arrive at least a week before so that you can complete all your enrollment, you can have your campus tour, you can settle into your accommodation, you can come and meet me and Vince so that you are ready to start your classes on Monday the 26th. If, like we've said before, if for any reason you don't think you're going to be able to arrive in time for your first class, again, let us know. The one message that I want you to take from this pre-arrival is if you have any questions, if you're worried about anything, there are people here to support you. And if you think that you're going to be late, if you let us know, then we can make sure that support is in place for when you arrive. Your course at the International College, it is a full-time university course. So what that means is that you will be expected to be available to study classes 5 days a week. So your classes are scheduled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, are scheduled every day. There is a lot of work that you need to do in order to progress onto your degree at the University of Bradford. The foundation course, the pre-masters course, the year one course, none of these courses are easy. They are very intense, very challenging courses, and you will need to attend all of your classes. And these classes, like I say, will be scheduled 5 days a week, and they can be scheduled anytime between 9 AM in the morning and 6 PM in the evening. So you can see some of your classes can start very early. So this is another reason why it's so important to make sure your accommodation is very close to the university. Lots of our students live within walking distance. Some students may have to catch a bus that takes them 10, 15 minutes, but it's really important that you're living close to the university campus. You do not want to have to be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning in order to attend your class. A little bit of information here about the welcome week timetable and your teaching timetable. So as we've already said, this information will be made available to you once you've completed all your stages of enrollment. So like I said, it is the course itself is challenging. It is difficult. You will find that it's very, very different to maybe the way of the style of education that you've had in your home country. There will be a lot of new things to learn, a totally new way of learning, and you will be pushed to try and make sure that you are ready for your university course at the University of Bradford. But we do understand that it's difficult, and we do put in place ways of supporting you to make sure that you can achieve academically. This includes a personal tutor system who you will be able to meet one-to-one every term, to share any problems that you are having, to ask for advice, and to get help with your studies and with your work. There's also the academic skills workshops and the academic skills advice that is available at the university. And this is completely free of charge, and something that I really stress that you should try and make use of. These free academic skills sessions and workshops can help you improve skills like your academic writing. You might have problems with your maths, so you can have extra sessions to help improve your maths, and also presentation skills. All of your modules at the International College in some form or other will involve having to give presentations in front of your group, in front of the tutor. We will give you lots of support and lots of guidance and lots of advice in how to get ready for these presentations, but there is extra support there available for you. You book these free academic skills advice services sessions at the university, and again you can see the link on the page here which you can click on, and you can book these different courses. In order to succeed on your course, like I've said, your course is very challenging. It can be very, very difficult for some students, but the only students who are going to succeed and the only students who are going to pass and progress and remain at the University of Bradford are the students who attend all of their classes. It is very, very important that you understand that you must attend 100% of your classes at the University of Bradford. We know that sometimes, you might be unwell, you might be sick, and this happens. But again, if you cannot attend 100% of your classes, you must let us know. You must get in touch with us here at the college and let us know why you're not in your classes, and then we can make sure that we put support in place so that you do not miss too much of your work. Attending your classes is not only important to achieve academically, but it's also important for your visa status. If you fail to attend a minimum of 85% of your classes, then you will be withdrawn from the class. And if you are withdrawn from the course, then your visa sponsorship will also be revoked, and you will have to leave the UK and return back to your home country. So attendance is one of the most important parts that you have to be aware of when you're attending the University of Bradford International College. If you have problems with your attendance, we are here to support you. We are here to help you find ways to improve. But if you don't take up these offers of support and your attendance continues to be below 85%, you will be removed from your course and your visa will be cancelled. You must remember that you are full-time students and you are expected to attend your classes full-time 5 days a week. Okay, so like I've said, the main message, or one of the most important messages that I want you to take from this meeting, is the importance of communication. Is making sure that you communicate with your module tutors, with the college management team, with all the different support teams here at the university to let us know if you have any problems. When you complete your registration, you will receive your university email account. We will be sending all communication directly to this university. It is, sorry, I was muted there. It is very, very important that you have full access to your email account. It's because you need to be checking. Okay, can I just request that people stop muting me, if that's okay, just while I finish up the remaining part of the presentation. Thank you. If you ever have any problems with your university accounts, if you are unable to access your email address, make sure that you contact the IT team here at the university, who will be able to help you get access to your email account. Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. There has been a lot of questions throughout the webinar, and most of which, if not all of which, have already been answered either in the chat or throughout the webinar. Sort of the main theme of a lot of questions are about the how the timetable looks and how many days a week, which you've already mentioned. Someone asked how many hours in a day can they expect to be studying?
So the maximum number of hours that you will be studying in one day will be 5 hours. Some days you will study less than this, but the average number is going to be 5 hours of study a day. Over the week, over the 5 days, you will be studying a total of 20 hours of face-to-face classes, and this will be divided up equally over all 5 days. So you can expect some days to be studying up to 5 hours a day.
Great. And we've just had a question come through asking, how will the study be different from the university itself, and about the break between what are they studying in the first year and what they're studying with us at UBIC?
So again, depending on the course that you've signed up for, of course, depends on the main differences. One of the main differences that you'll find is when you're part of the international college, we will give you that extra support in terms of your academic, writing, your academic reading, academic listening, academic speaking, and a lot of your English skills that are not always available when you move on to the university. And the skills that we're trying to give you are the skills that will be useful to you once you move on to your university course. If you're studying a foundation year, then your modules will give you a broad overview of the subject that you're going to be studying. So for example, if you're moving on to a computing course, you will do courses in programming. If you're moving on to engineering, you might have courses in computer-aided design or mechanics. Of course, business students will have courses in economics, but a lot of the time on the foundation year, these courses are designed to give you a broad overview of the subject. And then when you progress on to your first year of your university course, this is where you dive into the subjects in a lot more detail. If you're studying on an international year one course, then in many ways your course will mirror the first year of the university. You will study very similar modules at a very similar level. But in addition to studying those modules, you will get extra support. You will get extra English language support, extra study skills support as well. Also, pre-master's students, we will equip you with all the study skills and English skills and research skills that you're going to need when you progress onto your course. But the main difference, I think, about studying at the international college rather than direct entry onto the university is that we give you that extra support, and we understand that it might take you one or two months to be fully settled within the university, and we provide that smooth transition from your study at home and from your education system at home. We create that supportive environment to make sure that you can smoothly transition onto your main course at the University of Bradford. And this is done, like I said, by offering lots of support, but also by having slightly smaller classes than what you might expect to have at the university. So normally your maximum class size will be around 23, 24 students at the international college. But when you move on to the university, you can sometimes be in lectures of more than 100 students. So that's another way that we look to try and make sure that everyone gets that support and is able to transition onto their course as easy as possible.
Great, thank you so much, Kevin. And that's it for the questions that haven't already been answered. So for me, thank you all so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you really soon. And I'll let you hand over, Kevin, for your goodbye.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Elliot. And just to repeat what Elliot said, we're really looking forward to welcoming you. We're looking forward to having you as part of our course, and we're looking forward to supporting you and helping you to meet your academic goals and helping you to be a success while you study with us here at the University of Bradford International College. And hopefully we've answered a lot of your questions today. If there are any further questions, You can look back at some of the email links that we shared earlier and make sure that you get in touch, that you reach out and ask any questions that you might have. And well, and finally, I'll see you in a few weeks, everybody.
See you all soon, and the webinar is